All right, welcome back to another Street Hockey Life podcast. Today I have a special guest that I've seen many times. I think I've introduced myself to her in person once. Miss Terri Milby, who to me is a staple within the street hockey world or the ball hockey world. But before I bring Terry on, I just want to give everybody a quick heads up that the Street Hockey Life is going to be kind of partnering with the NBHL, and on Mondays or Tuesdays, we're going to be releasing a separate sort of segment that interviews the captains of the NBHL Tier 1 Massachusetts divisions. So someone like Nick Carter will be on, and we're going to just talk about how Tier 1 is going in Massachusetts. So check out those segments that will be coming out, like I said, hopefully next week. But today, like I said, someone that I've seen a lot. I've seen her at tournaments. I think I've introduced myself to her, Miss Terri Milby. So Terry, how are you?
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Awesome. So what we got talking offline a little bit. One of the things that I had seen a picture of you playing, I believe, in the Chicklets Cup. So why don't I know you as a photographer, but I found out that you are a player yourself. So tell us a little bit how about you got into the game of ball hockey and where this all began for you.
Oh gosh. So I started playing when I was 26 and I started playing at the Family Fun spot in Aston. Um, a lot of girls didn't play back then. The guys were kind of scary to me, and just if we didn't have any women's leagues that I knew of in the Aston area, and this is before the internet was invented, and or maybe it was invented, but we didn't have like Facebook back then, so not a lot of contact for me. I saw a couple girls playing and I thought, wow, I'd like to do that. And my boyfriend ref, so I was always at the rink. I worked at the rink, clocking games, and I thought it was fun. So I started to play and was never one of the better players. I just average player, but I love the game. It's fun. And it was a way to keep in shape. And be around the sport that I, fell in love with. So yeah, I just started playing, and then I started playing in a couple women's teams, doing some tournaments. And Jason Kelly with Cool Hockey started having these big tournaments each year. So I've made a lot of friends doing that, and I don't know, just got to play. I played on. We had the Masters had two women's teams back in 2014, so I got to play on the second team because they just I guess we're, trying to put two teams together. So I was lucky enough to play on the second team twice, which was pretty exciting because, considering I'd never played before growing up, it was nice to be able to travel that far in the sport. Um, and, I ran some co-ed teams and then yeah, I still play in a men's league. Just it's an over 40 league. It's definitely a more of a hangout, have fun kind of league. A couple girls play with us, and then that's it. That's pretty much my tournament days are definitely over, but I still enjoy being around the game. So yeah.
Well, it shows. And what was it like that first time that you actually stepped on the rink? What was that like for you? Were you
Oh,
uncomfortable? What was that like?
well, I was too scared to be uncomfortable. It was just, I don't know. I was so nervous, and I mean, I knew the people at the rink. I knew the players from clocking the games and things. So but it was scary because there's you're playing against these big men, and they're all trying to kill each other, and I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I'm a bigger girl, I can probably, I can handle it, but I don't know, it was kind of scary, but it was also fun because I liked the physical play a little bit, and I don't know, not that I knew what I was doing at that time, but it was definitely intimidating, and it was scary, and then of course you get and sometimes you still do, you get the comments like, go back to the kitchen, and you don't need to be out here, and oh, you can't take it, you're just a girl playing. And so that's always fun to hear. We still hear that once in a while playing in the men's league, but yeah.
Is it few and far between now with that type of situation, or
Oh yeah, yeah, because we're not out there to just, we're not out there to prove a point. I'm just out there to have fun, and I'm not trying to like, um I'm not trying to like hurt anybody, or just, I'm playing for the fun of it. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just trying to have a good time. So, you know. But yeah, I think, and I mean, I can take a hit as long as it's not a dirty hit. But if you do something, I mean, I'm gonna probably do something back. If it's a guy, if it's a girl, I'm not gonna do that because I'm. But yeah, I mean, I like the physical part of it, but I can hold my own for that part. But um, you know, I'm also extremely slow, so it's gonna take me a while to catch up to anybody.
Speaking of that, Terry, when you say that, like the physicality part is that my wife Erin loves the physicality of hockey.
Yeah.
Um, one night after the men's league, this was, I think it was 2 weeks ago. It was pretty late, and she wanted to get a little extra work in. So the men's league game, the last one ended. I think it was like 9:30 at night, and she's like, "Hey, come out and try to get the ball from me, and just stick handle with me."
Oh, I like that.
And so I said, "Okay." So I was expecting maybe we would pass together, and then I'd feed her some one-timers, and then she's like, "No, I want you to play deep. I want you to carry the ball. I'm going to play defense, right?" So the
Okay.
ball goes to the corner, and like some of the men hang out, and um, they most of these people know who I am just because
Mhm.
this is our league, etc. And I'm like, okay, so I get the ball, I start stick handling, I try to make a move around her, and then she swipes it away. I'm like, okay, she's really,
Oh yeah.
yeah, she's playing, she's not really messing around. So I'm like, all right,
Right.
I'll play a little bit harder. And again, she knocked the ball away again. So it ended up being like a full on physical,
Rivalry, right?
between the two of us where, I'm like, she has improved so much. So
Yes.
finally I got by my own wife and I got around her and she said she didn't trip me, but I definitely tripped and I had to literally to keep myself from smashing against the surface. I had to actually hold my I had to literally do like a push up and when I fell and all the guys that were watching the game that are my age were like, take it easy on him,
Oh my God, no, don't take it
take it
easy.
easy on him. So
That's funny.
but it's great because we both she's always going to bring it anyway and
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun and she keeps getting better and I've said this to Alessandra Glista, I've said this on previous podcasts, it's great to see her progression through the game. So
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate of women playing the game, so thanks
That's
for
amazing.
sharing that story with you. So
Yeah.
a lot of fun. So you started playing
Mhm.
and then you get on that masters team. What when you played in that Chicklets Cup, what year was that?
Oh, that was just a few years ago. So Melissa Jones and I were, let me backtrack. So the first Chicklets Cup happened in Detroit. And besides being a Flyers fan, I'm also a huge Red Wings fan. So they said, so we knew the NBHL was going. I'm friends with, Gianni and Anthony Samrocco. And I said, I'm going to this tournament. Like it's in Detroit. I'm going and I want to do pictures. I just want to go and have fun. Um, so some friends were going and I went to that. No, there was no girls that played in that tournament at that time. And it was an amazing time. I got to meet, Darren McCarty, and we became friends with Chicklets guys like running it and just the exposure for that with the rivalry now that came between Corey Wilson and Biz and all that started that at that point.
Yeah.
And then our NBHL guys won, and it was amazing. And it put them, I think it put us on the map for world domination, we'll say, right? So, um, the next tournament came around, and Melissa and I said, "Well, we're playing in this because at that time you couldn't go to the parties unless you're part of the player if you're a player." So we got, Nick Carter, I think, threw us some some bracelets out the window of the bar, and we got our way in. So that was like our in. But we at the first one, so we said, "This is fun. We're doing this again. Let's put a team together." So we put a team together in the second one, and then we played in the last few of them. So yeah, I mean, it was just such a good time, and it's so fun and the atmosphere. It's not a serious. Well, it's not. If you go there for the hockey, you kind of already lost. You just go there for the fun. And but then it also turned into that rivalry with the upper level with the
Yeah.
guys and the girls. Now the girls started playing And those women playing, oh my gosh, they were amazing athletes. We were not in that league. We played in the D men's league, men's division, and it was fine. But the we won. By the way, in Las Vegas, we won every game except for the last game. And yeah, we lost to a friend of
Okay.
ours, but it was we had a good D team. It was fun, and just got to meet a bunch of people that we'd never met before in our ball hockey. And um the first tournament in Detroit, getting off the subject here, but the first tournament, the men's NBHL team was playing against Michigan hockey, Michigan State, Michigan Tech ice hockey teams,
Oh
and they were
wow.
like, "Oh, who are these guys coming in? Though they're trying to be the NHL." And I was talking to them, and I said, "No, we're just." We're trying to get our name out there. We're trying to expand our sport. We're not trying to copy the NHL. We are a national ball hockey program. And they said, oh, so they kind of didn't know anything about us. So it got us exposure too. So,
That's awesome.
um, yeah, but anyway, but playing in that was just so much fun. And yeah, we became friendly with the guys from the Chicklets crew, and got some fun pictures from those tournaments too.
That that if Can you talk a little bit more about that where you live? Is ice hockey popular or not necessarily?
Ice hockey ice hockey is pretty popular. It's not like the Northeast. Growing up, we didn't have ice hockey around here except for maybe about like 30 minutes away in Westchester. Now we had a rink in Aston, Pennsylvania, with a lot of ice hockey teams, and they have a lot of high school teams that play. But ice hockey wasn't huge, in my opinion. And to my knowledge, it wasn't that big in the Philadelphia area where I live, because I'm in Southeast Pennsylvania in the suburbs. So in Philadelphia, maybe a little bit more, I guess. I'm not really sure. Not like New England. New England was the mecca of, ice hockey for us, and ball hockey definitely was started up there. So we didn't have a whole lot of it. So ball hockey down here um was nothing. No one knew anything about it except for the little spots around the rinks. But ice hockey, yeah, I mean, it wasn't too bad. I live in a Flyers town, so you know if you're not a Flyers fan, then look out. So
Gotcha. One thing about Philadelphia, love their love their sports teams for sure. Just very similar to Boston, same kind of
grit.
live and die mentality of their sports teams, which is great. Great, wonderful passionate city of Philadelphia. They really,
Yeah.
really love their sports. And when you talk to those college players, did you feel like they were looking down at the sport, or were they more confused?
I
I don't know if that's a
think it
good
was a
question.
little both. Like, I think coming into it, I think the very first one was, but it was ice hockey people trying to play some street hockey. And when they saw us playing, they're like, oh, what? Okay, like who are these people? Us meaning the guys that I was with. Um, I think they just didn't know what to expect. It was more of a fun tournament, but then when Corey and Biz started the back and forth banter, I think it became this rivalry, and I think that we were taking it seriously. I remember the first game that they played each other. Like, our guys came out hard. They were not messing around. I mean, this is their sport. They play ball hockey, and the team that they brought was an elite team. USA guys, from the USA team, they were there playing seriously. They wanted to win and show the people what our sport is. And these ice hockey guys were like, oh, like, they're not fooling around. I mean, and we're like, well, yeah, we're not trying to like say, hey, we're the best, but we kind of are, and I think they kind of took a second look and said, oh, okay, well, this is we're gonna we're the ice hockey stars. Ball hockey's way different. So yeah, these guys were, first of all, there was a big fire in the western area, so the whole town was smoky from all these big fires. So it was hot and you couldn't breathe because of the smoke. So these guys, everyone's winded, but the ice hockey guys they were dying. It was funny because they were just not expecting these guys from the NBHL to bring it so hard. So I think they didn't know what to expect. And I mean, of course they probably have already played ball hockey, but not to the level that our guys played.
Right.
So yeah, I think they were surprised and gained a lot more respect for our sport.
Absolutely. I mean, I've told this story before, and I can't remember the town that I first played roller hockey in Philadelphia.
Oh,
Um,
probably Feasterville or Marple, I would think.
it might have been Marple.
Yeah.
It might have been Marple. I was living in Ardmore, Pennsylvania during graduate school,
Oh,
and it must have been maybe 20 minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes south of where I was headed. I can't remember the route, but
Marple. Yeah,
Marple.
probably Marple.
And when I went into this building, I was scheduled to play roller hockey. It was just pickup roller hockey that a person had connected me with to play. And I like I said, I've definitely told this story before, but I finished roller hockey, and after I was asked if I would consider playing on Sundays, and I was in graduate school at the time, I was going to Drexel,
Okay.
and I was like, maybe, I don't know, it depends, because grad school there's a ton of work that you have to do.
Yeah.
And I finally said, sure, I'll do it. And plus, it gave me some extra exercise, got me out of the classroom a little bit. And so we finished up roller hockey. I put my bag away. I'm getting ready to walk out, and then these people are literally walking onto the rink. And I'm like, I called the guy. His name was Al. I said, Al, what's going on here? What are these people doing? And Terry, he goes, oh, they're playing ball hockey. And I said, so you mean they're
Oh.
going to run this whole rink? And he goes, yeah, they're going to run the whole rink. And
Maybe you were at the hockey deck in Springfield where Jason Kelly had his rink.
it could be. I can't
Yeah.
remember the town. I'd have to go and actually look up the map
Yeah.
where it was. It was an old building. I can tell you that it was an
Was it
old
like an
building.
old barn with just one rink?
Yeah, it was an
Oh, and
old.
that was Jason's building then. Yeah, the hockey deck in
Uh,
Springfield.
does it
Shout out
still
to that.
does it still exist?
They do. Jason isn't part of it anymore, but they still have leagues there. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I watched it for a little while, and I said, wow. My first thought, I'm not trying to be a hockey snob here. I was like, my first thought was is that maybe they're doing this because they can't skate.
Mm,
You know what I mean? I didn't look
yeah,
down on them. I thought maybe they're doing this because they can't skate. But I watched it and I was like, wow, these people can move.
yeah,
I was so impressed with the sheer endurance um, that they had. So anyway, but that also this was right around 2000. Oh man, this was fall of 2012. So Young Legends, our program had already been in existence since 2004,
mhm,
but we were playing on a basketball court, and the rink was not even in my realm, and it wasn't even it
yeah,
wasn't even a thought in my mind at this point. And that we were going to build about, that would be 5 years later is when we actually said we're going to take this project on. But like I said, at that time, I had known about Leominster. I knew that Leominster existed. I had known that Leominster existed for a long period of time, and I had told you the story offline. The first time I ever saw Leominster was when I was going to one of my high school hockey games and passed
mhm,
it. I told that story too. But I do feel like even right now in Gloucester, it's what you experience with those college players is a lot of what we experience right now with some of the youth players or some of the adults
mhm.
that see it. They're like, "You mean you're going to run this whole thing?" And it's like I get that feeling, Terry, where it's like once you play it,
Yeah.
you realize that it's not the same as ice hockey.
Oh
It's
yeah.
it's not the same as roller hockey,
When
and
you can't breathe after your first shift, yeah, that's when you realize it's not the same.
and we're starting to find that there are guys that absolutely love it. We also find that there's people that try it and are like, yeah, I don't care for the running. But
Yeah.
and I told you this offline, for me, I always look at street hockey. It was always, always, always a supplement to help
Mhm.
me become a better ice hockey player. Um, I spent we spent hours playing in the streets. I spent hours by myself shooting a ball or stick handling a ball.
Yeah.
And so I've never looked at the game any differently, but I do believe it is different. And
Yeah.
it's funny you mentioned that team. When I first saw that roster, that my assumption is Anthony came up with that roster
Mhm.
in that tournament. I was like, nobody's going to beat this team. Nobody.
Right.
These are all big names. If they lose, it would probably be a fluke. But and they did dominate.
Oh
They
my
did,
God, they
they did
did. Yeah.
dominate, right? That was a special team. And then Bobby Hauser kind of switched and has been playing with what are
Terry
they?
Ryan and
Terry Ryan and those.
yep.
What's that team called? Sorry, I forget.
Oh, the Big Deal Selects.
Big Deal Sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and like you said, it's transpired to being a big rivalry. So
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was great. I mean, the when they were like, oh, when Corey was chirping Biz at the first night before they even had their first game. He's like, well, we're the NHL, and he's like, no, you don't understand. Like, this is our sport. And it was a fun rivalry. And a lot of it was hyped up, online for the story content, but it was really a good rivalry, and it's you don't understand, like this is our sport. We have the Team USA, like there's a whole world out there. And then the Chicklets guys brought in Terry Ryan, who was this ball hockey star. He's an NHL player and then a ball hockey star for Team Canada, and he knew Bobby from playing for years, and knew a couple of the other guys from playing as well, but brought a little bit more credibility to it, and then brought his guys in. So yeah, it just became this huge, definitely a huge rivalry, but it also, like I said, put our sport on the map a little bit better, and gave some respect, for these ice hockey guys coming into play, because they really, really, really wanted to beat our ball hockey team, and man, it was really, those games were really good. The further on we got, the more recent Chicklets Cups, we had better teams coming in, and man, the games were incredible. I really loved watching the men's games.
it looks like the teams have gotten even more competitive. And this is just a question that I would ask you is the
Mhm.
team that beat them last year, was that a
Mhm.
Canadian team? And are there more ball hockey players now getting into this tournament?
Oh yeah, yeah, so they had yeah, definitely two Canadian teams, the Godfathers and Brick House. Well, Brick House won. They beat the Big Deal Selects, to the not this last one, the one before. In I think it was in might have been in overtime. I don't know. I don't think it was overtime, but they beat them. Satachi had the winning goal, and that was a Canadian team. They're from just like the Niagara area.
Yeah.
Um, so there was, yeah, as it became more popular, and plus it was in Buffalo, so you had these guys, they could just drive over the border and come play. But and then the Godfathers won it this last time, and they played against, oh my god, I can't remember the name of the team, but it was I don't know if it was the same Brickhouse team or not, but they were just phenomenal players, and they've all played against each other and with each other, in that area. But man, those games were just so good. They were two amazing teams that won, or that played in the final, and there were some great hockey played there.
Were people expecting business team along with Corey to be there in the finals? Was there a letdown? Did you feel like?
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of a letdown for sure, because everybody wanted to see that rivalry, play out again in the finals, but they weren't disappointed with the two teams that definitely played it. I mean, that place was packed for that last game. You just, everybody could have left after Corey and or after the NBHL team played the Big Deal Selects. Everybody could have left and said, okay, well, it's over. But they all stayed and watched that final game, and they were not they were in, it was a good game, and they were not disappointed. I don't think so.
That's cool.
Yeah,
You,
that's
you
what you want,
You
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 know.
do. You're absolutely right. It's things like that that get people more interested in the game, um, for sure. With these bigger names, the Chicklets. It's a great podcast for hockey. There's not a lot of them, right? So
Yeah.
when you have someone like that, that's giving them credit too. I mean, I remember Anthony or the NBHL had shared some of the comments that they talked about after that Chicklets Cup on how good these
Mhm.
guys are, how they can put the ball on their foot, put it back to their stick,
Oh yeah.
little things like that, you know, credit to these players. I mean, I have a guy in our men's league who's really fallen in love with the game, and he'll text me every couple days about, certain things. He said he's been studying the world that
Mhm.
you're very much a part of. And um he'll talk to me about how he wishes that the rink was there because he played when it was on a basketball court. That's,
Okay.
he's
Yeah.
now 20 something years old getting to play on a rink, but he's like, I wish I had grown up where there's a rink. I wish I had grown up like where Leominster is, where I could play on that.
Mm.
And he's like, they're just so far ahead of us. And I said, they are, they
Yeah,
are.
they've been around since the 70s. So yeah, they're
Uh,
yeah.
and that goes for Pittsburgh and that goes for the
Oh,
Philly area. That I mean, I said, but it just takes time, and you just keep working your game and keep learning about the game. And I saw George Tarantino this weekend in Tiverton at UW's and Springfest, and I talked to him. I said, he always offers. He's like, let me know when you want together. We'll talk some chalk talk. Or same with Corey Hirsch. We always,
yeah.
as much as I feel very confident in my, understanding the game at an ice hockey level, I'm still learning quite a bit about ball hockey. So um, it's nice to have those people that are so willing to help you.
Oh
With
yeah, that's what I love about our sport. They're always they just want to grow this game, and it has, even in the last, I'd say even last 5 years. Oh my God, my alarm. Even in the last 5 years, just to see it has grown, and to have all these kids coming in and playing, and just but the energy these people have to we all work, we all have careers, and then to go out and just share our passion for the sport, and to expand it and just try to always bring more people in. And that's a lot. It's great to have people like Corey and George around, and Alexis, she's really, and Alessandra, they're great for the women's, um and just to help grow it basically, and get as many people interested as possible, and I like that.
Absolutely, it's a pretty cool community. Aaron and I, like I said, going to Tiverton. Um, when we went down to the North Americans this year, and she's starting, we're both starting to realize, you started seeing the same people, starting to
Mhm.
build those relationships with individuals. And just recently she was invited to go play down in Nashville in August for Jason's, I believe it's
Nice.
in the tournament. Sorry. But it's in
That
that.
looks like a good time for
Yeah.
sure.
So I think we talked about not bringing our kids to that one, and actually what's pretty
Please
cool is
don't bring your kids to that. Yeah.
our summer season, our youth summer seasons ends the weekend before that. So it'd be kind of nice to be, for me personally, it would be nice to be going to a tournament where I don't have to coach, I don't have to play,
Yeah.
and I can just watch her and observe and have fun. So
So it used to be that same around that same time, Jason used to have this tournament. Jamie Cook started, I believe, years, I don't know the year, but 20 plus years ago, Beach Bash in Ocean City, Maryland. And that was just, oh my God, that was so fun. And then you went down there, it was like senior week for grown-ups. So you went down there, you bring your family for vacation, but you go for just the big hockey party. And Sunday night, everybody would go out. And I mean, there was no fighting. Everybody was friends with each other, and you were just there to have fun. And that tournament, oh my gosh, it was just a good time. And so that rink closed in Ocean City, Maryland. So Jason was looking for another place to have it, and it looks like Nashville is the new place. So it's kind of that same vibe as from what I was getting. It's just a good time. You go there for fun. You can't not have fun in Nashville, I think, and then you get to play hockey too, and that's icing on the cake. So
absolutely, we went back in February with our Raiders team,
uh-huh.
and Ashley Muzan, who started a program, ball hockey boot camp. She's been on
Oh
the
yeah.
podcast as well. She hosted a tournament. There was 4 teams out. Oh man, was it 4 or 5 teams? I can't remember. I think it was a B division, and we had a great time. It was very competitive, to say the least. So
Mhm.
um, we ended up we had our kids with us. My sister came with her kids because she's on the team, and my parents came, and it's just, we're creating memories with our kids too.
Oh yeah.
But the kids were we got beat by the Beach Bays, which had Abby Rush on that team. If you know, if
Oh
you're
yeah. It is fun. That's what's great about our sport. I mean, not like you can't do this with other sports, but with ball hockey, especially these tournaments, you see so many people now that we've grown up and we've have kids. you see them, they can play with their kids now, which is great. You can't really do that. I guess maybe softball you can do it too, but it's so much. It's nice. You see people popping tents up, and you're just hanging out all day. They're barbecuing at these tournaments, and the kids are running around, and then the kids are bonding with other people that from other states, and they're growing up as friends, and now and then they start to play. So it's just a cycle now, and it's really cool to see it. And it's a good sport. It's fun. It's energetic, and the kids watch it, and it's just a great atmosphere, and good vibes.
It really is. And speaking of that, like the camaraderie piece, like even the Future Stars event that we have these Massachusetts kid players, Pennsylvania, New Jersey,
Jersey.
New York, right?
Yeah.
I remember telling Corey, I'm like, this is great for building a national program.
Yes.
You've got kids that are getting to know each other, and once they make the national team, they kind of already know each other, or they played against each other, and even after the games, getting together, and that goes a long way. And it, like I said, it's really really interesting because I don't know of other sports that have such a, we always use the word niche, but
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying though. It's there's a lot of things that keep the community together, and there's so many things that I think are coming up that are going to help
Yeah.
build that camaraderie, and it's really exciting. And I one time I got a chance to see the team Massachusetts when they came out with the Future Stars. This was right after COVID.
Hmm.
Um, did you ever get to that Drake it rink up here in
Oh
Massachusetts?
yeah,
Like,
I've played. Yeah, I've been there
okay,
a few times. Yeah.
it's gone now, but Team Mass had their tryout there, and I went and watched the kids, the boys, try out for their team, and I met Eddie Costa there.
Hmm.
And I told my dad when we were leaving, because he went with me, I said, if this existed when I was a kid, I would have been there, no doubt about it. I
Yeah.
love stuff like that, and but I'm hoping, like where we are in 30 miles north of Boston, I'm hoping that kids will get the bug, and
Yeah.
will someday look at ball hockey and say, oh man, I definitely want to try the team mass.
Yeah. And you know what? The parents would like this. It's cheaper than ice hockey. It's so much cheaper. And that's, I mean, like I said, I don't have children, but I just bought my nephew a bunch of equipment to start playing. And I don't know how these parents do it. I don't like, it's so much money, especially they have ice hockey. I know people that thousands and thousands of dollars just to even join these, and they have maybe more than one kid, forget it. But in ball hockey, it's still some money, but it's not as expensive, I don't think. And that's a good thing for the parents as well. And that there is a ton of traveling involved, but uh, you know, it's better when it's a little more affordable as well, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. It's definitely less expensive than ice hockey,
Yeah.
especially up here in
But
the
it is
Midwest.
it is nice to see like they have these kids leagues growing up, and like I said, we didn't have that. I mean, we had like under 18. The rink started, I think, when I in 1984, and where I am. So that was like my junior high school era, and we didn't have like the younger kids growing, and it wasn't as structured as it is now. You threw a team together, and if you went up to Leominster for a tournament, or you went to New York for a tournament, you come back. Okay, it was just throw together teams. There's no structure like what we have now. Definitely not. So it's really amazing to me to see, and the kids coming up. My nephew's 8, or no, I'm sorry, he's 11. Jeez. But he can start playing on a team, and it just amazes me that these kids can have that structure to play. And I think they're playing as young as maybe like 4 and 5 now. I think.
That's
Oh
what we have a few, might even be 3-year-olds,
my god. Oh my
running
god.
around. But in that, Terry, that's been a learning curve for me specifically, because I'm the type of coach who enjoys like more of the advanced player, to give them more, those higher evolution of skills, like learning to read plays, things like this. And I told the story. We had an intro to ball hockey day one day, and I'm on the rink, and there's this little. I kid you not, he must have been 3. He's all geared up. He's got a helmet on, pad. shin pads, his gloves. He looks good. He's got his elbow pads on. And I said, "Hey, we're gonna do the drill over here. Come on." And I was trying to redirect him, and he took one look at me and went the other way. And I watched him just leave the ring entirely. So
Oh no.
I laugh about these things because now, but I mean, this is a 3-year-old kid, and it's I think there's 30 kids in our program right now. So and they play board to boards. They don't play the full rink yet, and
Yeah, yeah,
they're fun to watch. But and actually, this group is ultra competitive. There's been a few checking going on. We've seen some trips a little bit, so they're definitely aggressive and into it. But as far as me redirecting them, I laugh sometimes when and I'm like, okay, where's the parent? Just know, maybe they'll come out and help because there are some parents that will help
yeah, yeah.
redirect their kids. And
I saw one of the tournaments they had was at clubs, which Corey Horace hosts in Pittsburgh, club championships in May. And the first couple years they had some of the kids playing, and they set up those little the little barriers so they could play half court, they had some of the USA guys come out and do drills with them and shoot around with them. And so they had, their USA jerseys on, and these little kids were like, oh, I got to play with Nick Carter and, the Albright brothers. And it was just kind of cool that Johnny Ruiz was there and different people. And they got to play with these big names in ball hockey. And they were just little kids, who look up to these guys playing. And it was nice that they could share that experience with them and guide them and, have them running drills and that with the older kids, So it was nice to see Mike Malloy and Jojo Malillo were there. It's nice to see those older kids set an example for the younger kids to play and shoot around with them. So it was nice that they had that opportunity.
that's really cool. One of the things that we did a podcast with too, Terry, was Eddie Costa came on with the U18 guys back in February on the
Mhm.
podcast. And they, what I really enjoyed about talking to those guys is that you could see how much they dedicate to get better. And this all goes back to the theme of what we've been talking about, right? Is people think that street hockey, maybe not in your area now, but in my area, it's like street hockey is so new in the concept of playing inside a rink
Mhm.
with floating blue line. And, most kids grow up in our area, they're out on the driveway, they're out in there, playing under the street lights. And, there's this assumption that anybody can go out there and just start playing. And it's
Yeah.
true, anybody can play. But if you want to play at a very high level, you learn very quickly that guys are in the gym, women are in the gym. They're doing interval training. They're really working on every aspect of their game. And to me, that's you know, as an ice hockey player, the guys that you talked to out in Detroit. I mean, it took years to get to that level, the amount of sacrifice, hard work. So I think that's something that I think we're trying to change the perception of is in my hometown of Gloucester is getting people to realize that, there are higher levels that you can get to with this
Yeah.
sport. And you can have a lot of fun along the way. So
When I have so I try to talk about our sport as much as possible. But when I'm at work and I have a patient, we start talking different things, and I'll talk about traveling that I get to do, and I say, oh, football, hockey, and they said, do you play? And I said, well, I don't play anymore. I used to play, but I do photography stuff and I travel, whatever. And they said, oh, ball hockey, like street hockey, or no, they say field hockey. I
field
said
hockey.
it's nothing like field hockey, and I try to explain it, and they just don't get it until I show them pictures. I said it's like out front when you play street hockey, and you have to move the nets, and you're playing, like literally in your jeans and sneakers, and it's like that, but it's organized. We're up to the NHL guys are playing now, and they were just amazed. And this is just in general conversation, people just don't get it. They still think it's field hockey until you explain it to them. And when I tell them the level that we play, or these guys play, it's just they just can't fathom it. So I've tried to spread that word as much as I can through anybody I talk to. So yeah, it's you just try to get the word out as much as you can about this level. And it's not like, when I was growing up, you get a bunch of guys you're friends with just to buy some sticks and you go out and play and it's a team. But this is just much more competitive at the higher levels now. And it's amazing.
Uh,
Just the
it is.
athleticism that's involved in it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When it comes to the photography part, how did this come about?
Oh my God. Um, it was an accident. Oh, for Pete's sake, sorry, my alarm. It was an accident for sure. Um, I I always liked, I guess, well, I was an art major, but I always liked photography. I just didn't know it. Somebody just posted something from high school the other day, and it was a cheerleading picture that I took. I don't even remember taking it. I took this in junior high school or ninth or 10th grade, and it was my two friends doing this jump, and they were completely even. Um, these kicks that they did, and the scoreboard was exactly the same in the background. And I think I didn't even know it, but that must have been the what clicked in my mind. But I've always loved photography, and I just bought a camera, and I said, well, I'm at the rink, let me try to fix my, hone in on my skill and try to like um be better at photography, and I can learn my camera and just learn different things and use, like, I didn't realize I had this passion for it. And then we would go to a bunch of Frozen 4 games, and I would sneak my camera in. And I remember the first I don't remember the year, but it was BU played against Miami of Ohio, and I was standing next to the media guys with my little camera that I just really don't know how to use yet. And the game went into double overtime, and BU scored, and I got the picture of the goal. I got the whole play evolved, and I got the picture of the goal and the celebration. And I think something just clicked, and I said, "This is what I like. This is what I want to do." And it just from there it took off. So now I just try to, and like I said, I don't have kids. I can travel, um, and I have a lot of vacation time. So I just became a passion, and I try to go to as many tournaments as I can, and um, you know, and I just love it. I
That's
like the
awesome.
Yeah, I like the fact that when I can get a good picture, um, I think I get a little more excited than the guys do when if I can get like a goal or a good celly. I always run over and show them, and I get so excited, sometimes more than them. Um, but I just like that they like the pictures. That means a lot to me that I can share that passion with somebody else.
And you're capturing moments that, the game's never had before either, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't
What I mean?
have, we had Photomat when we were little growing up. So we didn't, and no one took pictures of our sports growing up. So yeah, I think um not a lot of people were, there's a lot more people now doing it than when I kind of started to do it. So yeah.
We follow there's a guy in our area who has an Instagram page, and he goes he goes to like the BU games. He goes to where I grew up in Gloucester. He goes to their high school hockey games and films them. And he's done a really good job. He's captured some really significant moments, but it's almost like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever. It really kind of helps give players exposure
Oh yeah.
that you and I growing up never would have had.
Yeah.
It's even the NBHL does a great job of that. Like just the amount of film that they produce, the
Yeah.
with their games being recorded.
Joey
Um,
Delgado with MVP Productions, he is amazing at filming things as well. And he has the commentary, and he has all the professional cameras, and he's done some world tournaments. He saved the day in Montreal when their production wasn't really working. So we got Joey to do it. He happened to be there.
so,
But yeah, he's top notch, and he can he has done NBA NBHL games, and he does this for a living. He's really gotten a lot of exposure out there for us too. So, and yeah, the NBHL games that are recorded and the highlights, and who would have thought we were going to ever be on the NHL network with our sport?
yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah.
That was
So
really cool. And it's not just been once, been a few times where I've, that's how I learned of like Johnny Ruiz. I had knew of Bobby Hauser from, being in the Massachusetts area, but
Mhm.
when he was interviewed by Ryan Whitney, and it came full circle when he showed up at the Chicklets Cup, right? It's kind of
Oh yeah, that was cool. Yeah, because they
funny.
had Denny, Bobby, Hildo. No, not Hildo at that point. Denny, Bobby, Johnny Ruiz, um, Mike Malloy. I'm trying to think of who else was on the team. Nick Carter, um, and Corey. Corey was on the team. And I just drawing blanks. Please forgive me for oh, and Gianni San Rocco played out. He stood on his head that entire tournament. In that, but yeah, but right. So Johnny Ruiz, Nick Carter, Hildo, and Bobby did interviews on the NHL Network, and if anybody else did it, I'm really sorry for leaving them out. Um, but yeah, they got our sport out there as well for the USA hockey team. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think even the Miley Cup finals has been on
Oh
there as well.
yeah. And they have some
So,
highlights sometimes, I want to say, like the top 10
yep,
shots, I believe, on the NHL Network. It's amazing. And we have Danny Caldwell is one of our good friends, and he works for the NHL Network um, as one of the producers, and I believe that's his position. And he's pretty high up in the NHL Network. So to have him, and he's a big into the ball hockey, he runs the graphics team. He's been around forever. So to have him in our corner as well, that's even better because I don't know if he's our in or not, but he's helped us get some exposure as well.
that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never met Dan in person, so yeah,
Oh,
that's what happened.
you have to get him on an interview. He's amazing. One of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
That's cool. That's really
Yeah.
cool. Thanks. I'll be giving him a call or text
Yeah.
at some point. So with the photography, are are people now requesting you to go to these events, or how
Yeah.
is this working out for you?
So yeah, that I know it sounds funny saying that, but yeah, people have asked if I'm going to be there. Sometimes the players will say, "Hey, are you going to be here for this?" Or, um, yeah, I've gotten invited to ISBHF World tournaments. I actually had the Mike Grinelli from the Chicklets Cup reach out and say, "We want you at the next Chicklets Cup."
That's
So we have
cool.
to do pictures because I the one picture that I took of Corey and Pender. So that's amazing to me that people are reaching out for certain tournaments. I've had some guys from Czech Republic reach out and they asked me, can I come there? There's a tournament in Scotland. Some of the Canadian guys have asked me when I can come up and do some of their stuff. So I just, yeah, like I'm going to clubs, like doing Jason Kelly, has all of his tournaments that I go to. So, and then, the San Rocco's as well. But yeah, it's pretty cool to have people like, as much as I love doing it, it's pretty cool that other people enjoy it and they would like me to be part of it. So I'm honored and humbled that they even consider me to come there. So yeah.
Absolutely. Like you said, Terry, to me, I mean, I'm starting to go to some of these tournaments like in Pennsylvania. Um, I think you probably don't remember this, but I think I saw you at the outdoor championship, and um, did you come up for that?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think I've only missed one, and that was a couple years ago. But yeah, and I want to say I remember meeting you there. Yeah, we talked about the rink
Yeah.
that you had just started. Yeah.
So, and
I'll be there
I'm one
this year too.
very good. I'm one of those people that are, believe it or not, I'm kind of standoffish at times, but if I'm very fascinated to talk to you, I will go up and introduce myself. I did that to Nick Carter and down in Pottstown a few weeks ago. Poor
Oh,
guy.
cool.
Get ready.
No, he's so nice too.
But I had heard of Nick previously from a friend of mine. So, but like I said, to me, you're a staple, and it's impressive on how much you're capturing and being at these tournaments, and you're adding something to the game that, again, if you compare it to ice hockey, you don't see a lot of tournaments where, ice hockey has kind of like this beer league mentality where we're just out here to have fun and skate around. Whereas ball hockey, like when you go to that men's A North Americans or the men's A club championship, you're like, these guys are here to win. They're
Yeah.
here to prove that they're best in the country.
Hmm.
Um, they're here to prove that they can play on a national level. And I just think that's just so unique to this sport. And people can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I really do. I think it's an and maybe it's because we don't have a well now that we have the National Ball Hockey League that's trending in these
Yeah.
directions, but you know what I mean. We don't. It's really fascinating to see the amount of passion and to me, you're someone who's capturing those moments and helping grow the game in
Thank
that way.
you.
I I mean that.
Thank you very
Um,
much. I appreciate that.
favorite
I
memory.
yeah, I appreciate that. I like that I can, like I said, I get excited to capture these moments, and sometimes I capture them by accident. There was one moment that I thought was really cool, and it was just it's so special. Uh Lauren Bracco was a on the women's team, and she was high. They had just given out the medals, and they were high fiving everybody. She came running down, and then there was a bunch of kids on the bench, and she high fived the kids. And I just said, "That's a cool picture." So I took the picture, and she said, "Oh, that was my son I was high fiving." And that moment, so I printed that out because I thought, man, that was just a moment that would be cool to capture. I didn't even know it was her child. So the fact that I captured that and she was just touched by that moment and I could get that for her, that meant a lot to me. So like when I do it by accident, it's even better. But there are the moments that I live for. Those moments, the the moms cheering for the kids or the like I don't know, just all the soupy you know sweetness that I can try to capture those moments that because they mean a lot to me. I didn't have anybody doing that for me, so I try to do it for other people. So yeah, if I can capture those moments, um I enjoy them as much as they do, and that means a lot to me that they enjoy it. So I'm
It's
happy I can do that.
definitely that's yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I appreciated this past weekend we were in when we were in Tiverton. Um, I appreciated that there were people willing to just do the Facebook Live for us,
Oh yeah.
and film the games. And when I got back home, I saw some grandparents of were MVP this weekend, Effie Parsons, and I saw their grandparents when we were leaving the rink the other night. She was playing Little League baseball, and I stopped by, saw she was playing, and the grandparents were like, "It's so great that you filmed those games." And
Oh yeah.
we thought they didn't get to go to the rink and see it, but they could watch it out and whether or not
Yeah.
the
I've had
quality of
oh,
go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. Oh no, I'm so sorry. It is funny though. You're right. That's what's great about Facebook is you can share this with people that aren't able to get to the games. Years ago, I did something. Bobby had a tournament. I don't know if it was Can-Ams or Nationals up in Leominster, and there was a team that would come down every year from Nova Scotia. The Reapers, I want to say. They came down, and the one guy said, "Can you please film? Do a live for my family that's back home?" And I thought, yeah, sure. So I started to do it. I don't, the quality is not, I'm sure it wasn't the best, but the fact that I could do it for them, I was happy to help them. They were so nice. They mailed me a huge hockey bag that's so nice with my name on it just for doing the video. And I thought, wow, I mean, I just sat there and held a video camera. I mean, a video camera, a cell phone. But the fact that you can share this with people, and then there's times when I can't go to a tournament, so I'm hoping to watch it for other people because I get FOMO so bad. So yeah, it's nice to have that option for people to film things.
FOMO is a very real thing for sure.
Oh, I have it so bad. Yeah, I'm wishing I could go to Scotland right now for that tournament, but I couldn't get off work.
Absolutely. The NBHL is playing out there with the team. So I talked to Dave Norton about it this weekend. So
Oh yeah.
um, I wanted to share with you. So did you take any photography classes in high school or at any point in time?
No, I wish I did. I'll be honest, because of my advanced age, we didn't have digital anything back then. But I did painting and sculpting and things like that. But I didn't go to college right out of high school. I worked, and then I did went to school for what I do now for medical stuff. And I wish I would have because I didn't know I had that passion back then. And looking back on it, I was always the one that was taking pictures of parties and events. I would just, with my little throwaway photomat camera. But I didn't know. I wish I knew then that I had that passion, because I would have taken college classes. I have some mentors that I follow, and I became friends with. Jim Trocchio is one. He started out playing ball hockey like me, and does a lot of ice hockey stuff. Now he's touring with the Doobie Brothers and the Beach Boys and Rob Thomas. He's had, pictures in Rolling Stone magazine. So he's come such a far way, but I've picked his brain a million times. Um, uh, I'm drawing a blank. Matt Stryback does amazing work for NBHL. I've picked his brain a bunch of times, just like different people. Mike Surratt, and these people are just amazing photographers, and they are more, I mean, I don't consider myself a professional. I just love it, and it's just a passion. I'm kind of winging it. But I've taken a couple classes, like online classes, and I've taken some things at the camera store where you pay for one-on-one time to learn a lot of things. But between all of those people helping, and this guy that I work with is an amazing photographer, uh just trying to get ideas, and I don't know, just learning as much as I can. And I should have taken classes, but I just haven't. But I wish I
But
would have known back then. Yeah.
you're learning on the fly.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And getting enough practice to do it.
So Terry, I'll share this with you. My last story of the day for you. In prep school, you had to have I guess an art elective.
Mhm.
And so my sophomore year, when I went to Kimball Union, which is up in Meriden, New Hampshire, it's up there on the border of Vermont. What they do is they throw you to into the arts. So you have to take a theater, you have to take a uh, for the first quarter, you have to take every 2 weeks you switch up. So you do theater, you do art, you do music, and then they throw you into dance. And
Oh,
they so after that semester ends, the second semester you get to choose which you want to study. And all the upperclassmen are like, just pick, put your last choice. You'll never get your last choice, right?
yeah.
So I think my first choice was like art, and then my second choice was music, and then my third choice was theater, and then my fourth choice was dance. So I ranked them, and then I got my class schedule, and guess where I went?
Where?
Dance.
Dance. Oh
They
gosh.
so they put me in a dance class. So I was like, all those upperclassmen, they lied to me. They definitely lied. They told me, rest assured, I would not get my fourth choice. I got my fourth choice.
Oh my
And
god.
I was in a class with basically all girls and two other guys. And I learned like the waltz. I learned the cha-cha. Like, do
Stuff
I
that
remember
you'll use every day.
Oh yeah, every day, like, things like I'll never use. But in the course of my prep school experience, I did get to choose to take photography, and I got to take pottery. And by the way, I still can't dance to save my life. Just ask my wife.
But you can throw a pot.
Yeah. Well, I needed help to have that pot centered the whole time. It was ridiculous. But I made some pottery, that's for sure. But anyway, so when I was taking photography back then, it was it wasn't digital. You had to go to the dark room,
Yeah.
and you had to literally take pictures with a black and white camera, and then go develop them in a dark room. It was pretty cool experience.
Awesome.
And
Yeah.
I actually believe it or not, I can be very introverted at times. I would say I'm more extroverted, but there are moments where I like solitude. And those moments in the dock room were actually very, is that what it's called, by the way? Is that,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
I
dark
don't know.
room. Yeah.
But it was like solitude where you develop these pictures. So one time I took a picture of what I thought was the coolest thing in the world. Really, I thought it was awesome. And what it was is I was walking on a gravel pathway, and I could see my shadow.
Oh.
And I decided to take a picture of my shadow. This is not cool, by the way. So anybody listening to this is not a cool story at all. But like I was so proud of this picture. And I went to my teacher. I'm like, I love this picture. And he's like, oh yeah, we've seen a lot of people do that type of picture. And so
Oh man.
it was like just a run of the mill picture.
Yeah.
But to me, it meant something to me. So clearly I was not meant to be a photographer. But
But just the
but
fact that you thought that, though, that's what it's about. It's so subjective. And the fact that you thought it was cool, it doesn't even, who cares if a bunch of people did it? And then you discovered it yourself and you got that feeling like this is awesome. That's the feeling that you know, you want to share. Yeah.
I appreciate that. I did get an A in the course for those people that are wondering. Probably not, but
Oh, thank God.
you know,
Yes.
but it was enjoyable. Like, and I did learn some things like capturing moments and things like this where, when you're young, you think you're gonna remember everything forever, and you just
Oh, yeah.
don't. Like, there's pictures that my wife and I look at that'll come up on our feeds that are our girls are babies, and now how like you're like, where did the time go?
Yeah.
Uh, with how fast they've grown up. So,
Well, that like
uh,
that picture from my friends in high school, they said, "Oh, you took this picture," and I thought, I don't remember taking it, but I kind of like do now. But I thought, oh my God, I didn't even know I took it, and they've kept this picture for 30 plus years. Um, yeah, they're like you don't remember things like that, but that was a cool moment to remember. So yeah.
where are you headed next? What's the big one for you? For
Um, well, we have clubs coming up in May in Pittsburgh, and then I think we have one more USA camp for the men's team, and then heading to Switzerland in June for with the USA ball hockey men and women's national teams.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, that's gonna be, oh my gosh, I can't wait. I'm going to Italy for the day before, and then heading over and get to see our friends from Canada and other countries. Bermuda guys are going. We've become friends with them. Some of the Lebanon team guys from the Godfathers playing, and our Canadian friends. So it's gonna be a great tournament. The competition. Our team is really good. The women's team, oh my gosh, they're amazing. It's going to be really, really a good team. And then in August, I'm going to Edmonton because I'm the GM of the Legends team. So we have our Legends team heading to Edmonton in August for that world competition, which is over 45.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You travel in the world, but do other teams bring their own photographer like you, or is there a
Yes, some of them do. Yeah, some of them. I think there's more people doing it now. But yeah, so Matt, I know Matt Stribe is going also. EJ Dwyer, I'm not sure if he's going for Pittsburgh, but Declan Moffat, he's doing a lot with the MB or ISBHF as well now. He does a lot of video content as well. So yeah, he's going. There's a guy that I can't remember his name from Czech Republic that he goes, but he does ISBHF work. But yeah, some of
okay?
them bring their own photographers, but but some of them asked me to go as well and help. Yeah, I mean,
Great.
not I don't think anybody has as much free time as I have, because they all have lives and they have kids and family, and I don't have kids, so I have a lot of vacation, so
Cool.
that helps.
Get to do it. Yeah, Stripe's coming on the podcast soon.
Oh, good.
Talk.
Yeah, he's really good.
Known Stripe. I met Stripe last year. He was the director of NBHL Boston, where we had put a team in, and he's a great guy too. Can't
Yeah,
say no. And Declan was
amazing
at.
photographer too, definitely.
He was taking some pictures a couple weeks ago. I saw him in Pittsburgh for Tier 2 and Tier 1.
Mhm.
And I met Declan did some interviews this weekend, so I got to see him in person. I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but
Yeah, he's making a big name for himself now too. He's really he does all these like the social media snippets and does a lot of the highlight videos, and he's really coming into his own, and it's nice to see him expand and grow in that aspect. Yeah, he's really
it's
good.
like that like I said, coming from an ice hockey background and learning about this world through the development of our rink, what's impressive the most is the amount of passion and the amount of opportunity that people are getting. Like I said, I'm so grateful to the game of hockey in general anyway, but just being able to go to tournaments, I've mentioned this before, being able to, sit down, have lunch with our kids, even if it's just like a diner,
Yeah.
that time together when you're traveling on the road together, it's a lot of fun. I think there was a little bit of a letdown. We went to Rhode Island this past weekend, not the tournament at all. It's more of like, oh, the girls like, oh, we're not stopping to eat. We're not doing any of that. We're just going right to the house. And it's like, yeah, we don't need to. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Uh, we ended up eating at the Airbnb we rented. So, but like I said, Terry, you're doing great work, and
Thank
and
you.
again, I'll say it for the thousandth time. I think you're a staple within the community, and I always look forward to your pictures, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in person.
I
Uh,
appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah.
so
Thank you for having me too. I didn't
my
think
pleasure.
anybody cared enough to hear my story, but I appreciate it.
Always. I didn't know you were a player, and now I know that
Yeah.
you're a gamer too. So
Oh,
yeah,
I think it helps with the pictures too, to know the game and kind of know what to expect. And also just want to say, like, because I've been around for a long time and know everybody, I get know a lot of little backstories on people. So you can know like the rivalries and like just, with these teams that are just the history of them. And I think it helps to see what's going to happen or to kind of keep an eye out behind the scenes too, or behind the play. So yeah, no, been around a long time. That kind of helps to know the game, to know the people, and look for the stuff that maybe isn't always in the play. So
yep, absolutely.
yeah.
What's the best way for people to reach out to you if they had questions about just photography in general, or getting
Uh
into the game, etc.? Ways to help? Is there some way to reach you if you're comfortable with
um
that? Of course.
yeah, so I guess probably the easiest way is like Facebook. So Terri Milby, or I have a photography page, Terri Milby Photography. And then I have an Instagram, which is also Terri Milby Photography. So they're the best three. I don't have a website or anything, but those are the three best ways to reach out. So
Excellent.
yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on. I hope we can do this again sometime when maybe you have more stories to tell, which I know you
Yeah.
will.
Oh yeah, there'll be those always, there's always more stories. I really, really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for listening to my story about photography class in a prep school. For some reason, it's still stuck in my head, and uh,
Maybe you have a passion you don't know about yet.
my wife will tell you differently. Like he's horrible with the camera, which is
Oh,
which is probably true.
yeah.
You know,
Job security for
when
me.
she's like, take a picture of me with the girl standing by the Washington Monument down in DC, and they're like, you can't even see their faces, or it's not straight. You know what I mean? It's like,
It's not as
uh,
easy as it looks, right?
it's definitely not. So, so thank you for all that you do, and well, best of luck out in Switzerland and clubs and everything that's going on. And
Thank you.
thanks, thanks again.
All right. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Pleasure. So we'll see you guys next time on the Street Hockey Life podcast. Hope everybody's playing well, and we'll see you next time.